Ba-dum, ba-da-dum. Ba-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-ba-bum, bum. But it's easier said than done. Ba-da-bum, ba-bum, bum. Ba-da-da-bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
So good morning, almost afternoon, folks. So today I have Todd Friedman with me, as well as the one and only enigmatic Eastside Dave. And what we're going to do is maybe, I don't know, Todd, if this is the first ever video trading card spotlight. So I'm going to turn it over to Todd now.
About what they do. So if you can give me a quick, 2-minute version of your history of what you've been doing as a career and how you've kind of been involved in gaming as well.
Career. Okay. Been a long time radio type of person. I did Sirius XM satellite radio for 9 years. Currently I do 95.9 WRAT FM in New Jersey. It's one of the preeminent rock stations in New Jersey, and I co-host the morning show there. And then in addition to that, I have a couple of other projects. I do this visual kind of crazy talk show, surreal variety show type of deal called the East Side Dave Show. That's on a subscription platform called Compound Media, and you can get that on compoundmedia.com. It's, kind of like sort of like a Netflix or something for, sort of, over the top, crazy comedy, and it's a great service. I also do, I also co-host with my little son Stanley, the East Side Dave and Son Wrestling Show, which is a podcast that we do, which is also available on my website, which is eastsidedavecountry.com, or my radio station. Believe it or not, my radio station, our radio station is owned by Beasley Media, which is this big media conglomerate, and right now they have 75 stations, and they just put the Eastside Dave and Son Wrestling Show on their syndication.
Cool.
So all over America you can get that, and you can just get it wherever you get your podcasts. Go check that one out. And as far as gaming goes, I guess when I was on Sirius XM 10 years ago was when I first met Billy Mitchell, or sat down with Billy Mitchell. He became a frequent guest on the show, and then he's been with me through my career. After Sirius XM, I did a big sports, kind of sports/pop culture type of podcast called the Davey Mac Sports Program. Billy Mitchell showed up on that. He showed up on the East Side Dave Show 4 or 5 times. His first interview kind of went viral, and people hated both Billy and myself. And we, that's okay. We'll just take the heat.
Congratulations.
What we do is we just take the heat and bask in the fire of knowing that we are number one.
Yeah.
See, when you're number one, Todd, when you're number darn one, okay, they're all gunning for you. With the vintage and the old school arcade side of things, they gun for the Billy Mitchell. When you're radio/broadcasting megastar, which is the entity known as Eastside Dave, they're gonna gun for you. That's why we've made a very unholy alliance, have decided to use each other's evil superpowers in order to, dominate. I was a frequent caller to the show that I really love, called The Ron and Fez Show. It was a talk show that originated in Florida, and then also went to WNEW New York, and then Sirius XM satellite radio. And if you're just calling in frequently and you're just Dave, you kind of get lost in the shuffle. Right. I wanted to be my own little character, so I said I grew up on the east side of Spring Lake, New Jersey, which was kind of a joke because usually when someone's like, I grew up on the east side or I grew up on the south side, they're talking about a tough neighborhood.
Right.
And Spring Lake is very much like a yuppie-ish, country club, kind of a private beach type of place. So when you say you're from the east side, Spring Lake, you get absolutely 0 points for being, street tough.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. I'm sure there's people out there who didn't know where you got your name.
Oh no, that's a good question. In fact, it's been so long that sometimes I even forget where or why I go by Eastside Dave myself. But it's really a joke at my own expense.
That's cool. All right, well, let's dig into the questions. Thanks again for doing it. But first question I always ask people is, do you remember your first video game or arcade you've played? And what do you remember about that day or time?
Oh, man, absolutely. Lars Revenge on the Atari 2600, still one of my absolute favorite video games to this day. Yep. And we had a nice, cool, furnished basement which obviously then, had no windows. We would turn off the lights and play Lars Revenge late at night because it's got some of the creepiest Atari and just video game sound effects. It's really jarring. I love Lars Revenge. And then the other seminal moment was probably I went to my friend's house in 1985 and he was playing the original Super Mario's for the original, regular Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right.
It was mind-blowing going from Atari, even, Lars Revenge, Pitfall, Pac-Man, to go from those games to Mario. I was like, what the heck? And by the way, if you see lights going off and on, it's because Jersey's getting hit with a little mini hurricane /
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. With a mini hurricane right now. No worries, but if you see lights going off and on, there's no.
If you have to board up your windows in the middle, just let me know.
Yeah. No,
it's an action-packed trading card spotlight.
Exactly. I just wanted to warn you in case you thought there was any sort of exorcism type of event going on.
Yeah. It's a theme for this episode, so that's great.
Exactly. Well, funny thing is I interviewed the creator of Yars Revenge, Howard Scott Warshaw.
Absolutely.
He's a cool guy. So if you ever want him on your show to talk to him about Atari or Yars Revenge and all that, let me know. I'll hook you up.
I would love that.
He's a great guy.
That.
He loves talking about that game. Yeah.
He's tremendous.
Yeah.
He also did the E.T. game.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. E.T., Yars Revenge, Raiders of the Lost Ark for Atari.
I love the Raiders of the Lost Ark game. I was I still am a massive Star Wars and Indiana Jones fan.
Oh, yeah.
So any kind of Star Wars. To this day, I'll still play games, by the way. I got a Nintendo Switch, an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 4. But if a new Star Wars game comes out, specifically, I usually tend to stick with the PS4 for Star Wars. I got to not only play it, but master it and defeat it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You have to definitely take a lot of time out of your days to spend on gaming. So, transition to that statement you made. How do you compare today's video games to the older generations when you grew up?
I love both. I love both. I have a very soft spot in my heart for all games. I do think that those 80s games, obviously Donkey Kong, some of the games that Billy Mitchell has mastered. Pac-Man I'm relatively decent at, and I will confess that I know a special glitch trick that Billy Mitchell taught me personally of how to always avoid the ghosts forever and ever and ever.
On me, I have no hope.
It's very
no hope.
There's a certain spot on the bottom right-hand side of the screen where if you are in trouble, you duck on there and they'll never eat you. They just fly past you. But he'll show it. But Donkey Kong is it's so difficult.
Oh, yeah.
It's so ridiculously hard. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what makes it really exciting. And it's fun. And I like those games because they are puzzles, but they're mental puzzles, but you still need the eye-hand coordination. Right. Today's games I also enjoy, but I need to be I can't just play like a first-person shooter. It's got to be like a Star Wars Battlefront for me to be emotionally involved in.
Sure.
The Switch I'm loving because I'm the greatest. I have been told I'm the self-proclaimed greatest Mario Kart player of all time.
Oh, you may get some challengers now. Uh-oh.
I'm fine. You can find me on Switch, I believe. I tried to get Eastside Dave, but it wasn't available. Who would steal that Dave?
Wow.
So I think I'm under either Davy Mac or Eastside Davy Mac. Look for me there. I am online, and I will dominate you. And I love what the Nintendo Switch did with Mario Odyssey in terms of this incredibly cool, innovative 8D graphics combined with the old, 8-bit stuff where you could jump on the side of a building. I thought that was phenomenal. Brilliant. I'm loving the Switch right now.
Yeah, the Switch is good. Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of the classic games right now.
And I love that as well.
Such a long game.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's see. If you can own one arcade game or pinball game in your home, what would it be and why?
Mike Tyson. Well, it wasn't Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
No, it was regular Punch Out.
It was just Punch Out.
Yeah.
But
that's a great arcade game. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
I think I would go with Punch Out or early 90s Terminator 2 pinball. Now I know. Oh no, wait, excuse me. There was two. There was a Terminator 2 video game.
Yeah.
With the automatic gun.
Right.
Type of deal. And then there's the pinball. Yes, I would choose the Terminator 2 with the two guns where you're shooting all kinds of Terminator machines coming at you. That game, I would probably lose, I would say $25 in quarters every Saturday that I played that game.
That's a classic game, yeah.
Phenomenal game.
Phenomenal. All right, let's shift gears. What does it take to be a radio personality and a talk show host? What's involved?
Oh my God.
What?
I mean, most of it are negative things.
Okay.
An inability to study at school, an inability to hold down a 9-to-5 job, and inability to work in a factory. I mean, it's really, I kind of fell into, I always loved radio. I always loved it. Even as a little kid, I loved sports talk radio. I loved the comedy or the shock jock radio. I loved the NPR even radio, just anything. I couldn't care. And so for me, I went to college, but really it was a matter of, I just found some local station that I could volunteer at, and I would just annoy the hell out of them until they gave me a late night shift. And from that, it turned into, I got a better job, then a Sirius XM job, now a morning show job. So I would say what it takes is a stick-to-itness. You just got to keep trying, and even if you have to volunteer at your local station, just keep showing up until eventually they'll feel so guilty that they'll pay you.
That kind of segued into my next question. You just said it, but I was going to ask what advice you'd give to young people who want to get into the business.
I would say pick television instead. It pays way more.
Okay, that's good advice.
My advice stays the same. Just go after it.
Yeah.
The one little thing I found, not to get on a soapbox, but I think too often people try to work on their brand before they're working on their content. For instance, Casey's written several plays. That's the content. That's fantastic. And then you take all that content, that plays, and then you throw it out there. Then you brand it. But too often people make the mistake of, hey, I'm a superstar before they're a superstar. So if you're a young person, work on content, ideas, thoughts, stuff, and have so much content that you will be undeniable. You will get your own brand, but it's going to be because people are going to say, look how much stuff this person is putting out there. Look,
growing up, you worked hard to get into the radio business, and you busted butt to get to where you are today. But there's a lot of people who just jump on podcasts and they believe there's some entertainer, or they have some shows. Are you in favor of those podcasts? Are you? I'm in
favor of anyone trying. I mean, why not? Why shouldn't I be? But the only time I get bothered is if it's just such a clear sort of non-passionate. I don't know what the word is for something. Someone who's devoid of passion, but someone who's just trying to grab a buck, capitalize on the fact that, you know, hey, I was on a show on NBC in 1995, and now I'm starting a podcast and pay me money. You know, because believe it or not, radio is its own art form. There's a specialness to it, and podcasting is an extension of radio, as we all know. I mean, visual podcasting, which is what I do on Tuesday night for the Eastside Dave show. That's what I do on in the visual thing is closer to like a variety show or an old school David Letterman type of deal. But as far as just the audio only podcasting and / radio, you know, I support anyone who has the best intentions, which is let's just bring some fun and something new to the table. And that's always good. But if you're just, you know, hey, I'm a celebrity and I don't have any acting gigs right now, I'll do that podcast. You know, that's not exactly my cup of tea, but I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to judge anyone who tries, I guess.
Right. Like Katecast. That's an awesome podcast that we're having here and up and coming.
I've kind of leaned over to the webcast because I have found, like, I'm coming from a theater background.
Right.
So my understanding is visual. And I'm also working with people like Billy Mitchell, who is a lot of visual. So I feel like audio only, it's something I'm going to try. I'm going to put out an audio only for our first episode. But I think it might kind of lend itself more to this. And especially like when we're talking about like restoring arcade machines, people don't want to listen to a how-to. They want to see someone's hands on the item, you know? So I think I'm leaning over more to kind of what your show is on Tuesday. Maybe a little less shocking.
And that's not
a little.
It's okay.
It's not always shocking. I want you to make me sound like I'm sick or anything.
Oh no. Billy Mitchell wouldn't touch you if you were.
Yeah, right.
Our show has a legitimate amount of, let's just call them characters.
Yeah.
Those are, that's a very kind word for some of these mentally deranged individuals. And we just try to have a lot of fun. But yes, there's sometimes an unpredictable nature to things. And you're like, what the heck? I will find that, you know, like the last 3 months I've been doing the show just like this, you know, via Zoom or Skype because of the lockdown, because we do it right there in the heart of New York on West 35th and Broadway. And it's been such a much different experience doing it at home. And I'm not even trying to say that it's been even calm or anything like that. Right. It's nuts, but it's been nuts in a totally different way. So I've sort of enjoyed the lockdown series, if you will, because
Definitely
it's a very different type of experience.
Sure. All right, let's shift gears. This is Walter Day's trading card spotlight, so it wouldn't be a spotlight without asking questions about Walter. So, Eastside Dave, if you can describe Walter in one word, what would it be and why?
Eccentric. But I mean that in the nicest way possible. Who would criticize a man who, let's be honest, might be around 60 years old and is still wearing a vintage referee costume everywhere he goes?
Yes.
He sometimes plays guitar in his car.
Yep.
And he is usually surrounded by lots of documents and books and magazines and periodicals of the sort. I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to take back what I said about eccentric and say he's criminally insane. A straight jacket on that man. He needs to be put away for a long, long time.
Good one. I like that answer. Who is your favorite video game character, and what makes that character special to you?
Oh my, that's difficult. Because I have such an easy answer with Mario,
right?
Being that I love all the Mario platform games plus Mario Kart. However, I might switch it up on you. One of the old school games that I really love, and I got so good at Pac-Man, but I wanted to shift gears. I wanted to do something a little different, was Q*bert.
Ah.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Hubert. I mean, is he related to the Philadelphia Fanatic? Is he an anteater?
Right.
Are we talking about an extraterrestrial?
Yeah.
What exactly is going on with Hubert? I don't know, but I love the game.
Yeah.
Hubert. Hubert's
Yeah.
my final.
If you can design your own game, what would it be about, and who would be like a main character?
Well, I mean, Todd, you know that it would be me and Billy. We would be little me and Billy Mitchell, little 8-bit, versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything froze, so I came back.
Yeah. I was in the same boat. I was about to like come back and be like, repeat what you just said about games.
Yeah.
Here, let me send him a message.
You can edit this all out.
Yeah, right.
Technical difficulty.
Hey, welcome back.
I think I'm here. Hold on, let's see. Oh, it's video. Gotta start the video.
Yeah.
There we go.
I forgot.
So remember the game where it was two guys and you would go, left to right, typical,
Is that Double Dragon?
Double Dragon.
Yeah.
That's the game I was more thinking of. It would be me.
Amazing cartoon series in the 90s.
And a great cartoon series. So I envision it like the gameplay would be like that. Me and Billy Mitchell, except for whatever kind of criminal, gangs of criminal thugs that they went after in Double Dragon. It would
Internet trolls.
It would just be me and Billy going after online haters. So I think that's a successful game waiting to happen.
Yeah. Casey, we got to talk to some designers and get that. But I see video gaming in the next 20 years. What do you vision?
Well, I would imagine that the virtual thing will become a lot better and easier to use at home. I'm still sort of like I've played. I've been on those VR things before, and they are cool, but still, right now, it's like when you do the VR stuff, it feels like something I want to do for only half an hour or an hour, and then I kind of get out. But I think that there's got to be a way that they can perfect that, or at least improve it to the point where you're gonna want to be doing that. I mean, look, like I said before, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. If I can get literally into that galaxy, it would be the coolest. And I know that they have a Darth Vader VR game, but again, it's like it's $100 or $100. I gotta buy all this equipment, and then when I buy all the VR equipment, it's like there's one title pretty much available.
Exactly. Yeah, it hasn't really taken off as much as I thought it would by now.
No, I thought by 2020, we would be all over that, but not yet.
Yeah, no, I think everything will be digital, and I think everything will be some sort of virtual reality.
Right.
It's just scary to me, but
yeah.
Oh,
we're gonna be even bigger shut-ins.
Yes.
No problem.
This is a key question. I'm always curious about people when I ask that. But do you believe some video games are too violent and lead to violence in America today?
I think it's a question that needs to be asked. But, look, they said the same thing in the 80s about heavy metal. Okay?
Sure.
They literally had congressional hearings about how Ozzy Osbourne was the devil, and his music was, making people do terrible things. Now we flash forward from 1985, a measly 15 years later in the year 2000, and Ozzy Osbourne is essentially like the dad in Family Ties.
Exactly.
He's like a sitcom character, and so anytime someone brings that if you look throughout history, there's always examples of that. Listen, they said that about Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry rock and roll in 1955. And it's going to make the youth. The flip side of the argument could be made that it's cathartic, and that if someone has some negative feelings, maybe playing some video games helps them unleash that negative energy. So I don't know. Look, I'm no scholar. I don't research it. I tend to think that our violence problems, I tend to think that they're bigger than any video game, any movie, any rap or rock song. I tend to think that the violence stems from a bigger issue and not video game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm always on the topic that movies are much more violent than video games, in my opinion. And movies are seen by any age, any people, and
Absolutely.
no one really blames violence on movies that I know of. So
Yeah. They
all
tried.
right, cool.
They tried,
Yeah.
they tried, but again, it's like, in 1973, they were blaming Clockwork Orange for stuff. Now, listen, that's a very, disturbing and intense, but, pretty brilliant film.
Yeah.
Now you look back on it, nearly 50 years later, and you go, okay, well, it's still, the violent imagery is still disturbing, but there's an artistic reason that Kubrick was trying to convey there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
What it was, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not that.
All right, last question, and this will be a good one to answer. Did you ever think when you were younger you would be on a video game trading card?
Never in my wildest dreams. And as a child, I asked Santa Claus for that every single year between 1986 and 1990 because I was an avid baseball card collector.
Right, me
So
too.
I said to myself, why can't there be video game cards?
Oh, wow.
And why can't my beautiful face? And I heard two laughters. I said, why can't this
Right.
gorgeosity be put over 1,000 video game trading cards?
And here we are, 2020.
This is it. Yes, all these years later, it's coming.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your time today. Again, I'm sorry about the time difference, but I'm glad we got together still.
No big
And
deal.
I really wish you the best, and I look forward to talking to you more. I'm sure I'll be talking to you a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. All right, we'll see ya.
All right, guys. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.